Hey there, Aubrey. What's shaking?
I'm great, Lindsay. How are you?
Good. Feeling good. We're getting into the holidays here. December. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it.
I
Yes.
know. Speaking of holidays, I have a question for you.
All right.
What's the last thing you saw that was heartwarming? I feel like there were a lot of heartwarming moments over the holidays.
Yeah. I watched a movie, an old movie, Memoirs of a Geisha over the weekend. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, yes, but it's
Yeah.
been ages. I don't
It's a
remember
really
it well.
good movie. Yeah, the ending is kind of heartwarming, I would say. But it's also kind of a sad movie at the same time, but it's very culturally interesting. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Okay, nice. I
Yeah.
love that. I love this adjective. And sharing what you find heartwarming or touching is such a great way to connect because you're talking about what is really meaningful to you.
Oh my gosh, for sure. This is one of those episodes where we get a skill that does so much more, that says so much more than just the words. Like the fact that like that
Yes.
movie was touching says more about me than just about that movie, right?
Yes, exactly. But this was inspired by a student mistake that we saw when describing a film. A student said it's a heart-touching story. I can totally see how
know,
this
so
could be a very
close.
easy mistake to make because we say heartwarming and we say touching,
Yes.
but we don't say heart-touching.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into this vocabulary today.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mix up these aren't really idioms. They kind of are, I guess, but I mix up my idioms all the time, you know.
It's very
feel
easy
like I
to
do
do.
it all the
Lots of
time.
native speakers do this. You'll hear on
Yes.
podcasts or the radios, they'll just like mix two.
Mix
This
two,
happens
yeah.
all the time.
All the time. So guys, hit the follow button right here on the show. If you love All Ears English, our goal is to give you skills that help you actually connect because we know that connection leads to a happier life. And that's the reason we communicate, right? So that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Exactly. If you see or experience something heartwarming and touch, we want you to have the language skills to
Yes.
connect about that in English.
Exactly. All right. So what do we need to know about today's adjectives?
Yeah, well, they are for describing something that evokes emotion, often, gentle or affectionate feelings, but really for like bigger feelings. You probably wouldn't be like, my son made me toast. It was really heartwarming. That's not quite a big enough feeling. But
Yeah.
maybe funerals, weddings, births, movies, like you said, often have very heartwarming messages or endings.
Or when someone does something really kind or thoughtful. Are you someone that cries at weddings, Aubrey?
Yes, I know
Oh,
you have
yeah.
mentioned you
Yeah,
are as
we've talked
well.
about this.
And
Yeah.
I do. I find it very touching, especially when they share really meaningful vows.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny. I'll go into a wedding, be like, oh, this isn't going to, touch me or whatever. I don't know these people very well or something. And then I'll just be bawling.
Yeah. Same.
So it's
Suddenly
not-
you're just touched.
Yeah. It's not even about the people. It's about like the ceremony and the gravity of it, right? Of getting married.
Exactly. Yeah. The
So-
commitment. There's something about that, sharing your life. And it is heartwarming.
Absolutely. And that's our first word, heartwarming, right? So
Exactly.
let's give some examples.
All right. My friend told me a really heartwarming story about her experience rescuing a dog. So
Yeah.
perfect, right? That's always going to be heartwarming when someone's sharing something like that.
Oh, it's like all those Instagram videos that I get sucked into about dogs, like rescue dogs and a dog rescuing a baby or things like that. Gosh, they're so heartwarming. They kill
They
me.
are. It's worth it. I'm like, this is going to make my day better. I'm going to watch this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's true. They're so nice. I got a heartwarming message from my friend just to say they were thinking of me. Yeah, and it can be, it is for big things, but it can be smaller things too. It's just the level of intensity of how touching was the thing. Right?
Exactly. Right. So it's not so much that the thing is big, it's that the emotion is big because you
Yeah.
can feel really strong emotion from something small like this, right?
Yeah.
You get a note from a friend just to let them know you're thinking about them. You're feeling a big emotion, right?
Exactly. All right. And that leads into the next one. Oh my gosh. The transitions are just so easy today. Touching is the next one, Aubrey. Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, it's touching when my kids give me handmade cards on Mother's Day. That really is. I love a handmade card
I'm
with their
sure
cute
that
little
is.
drawings.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a really nice moment. Yeah, absolutely. Or the tribute video for our teacher was really touching. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very interchangeable with heartwarming. They're always positive. It means meaningful, evoked positive emotions.
And then moving, very similar to touching, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the next two we're going to talk about can also be for negative feelings.
Yes.
Right. So first, moving. It can be positive. For example,
Yeah.
the life sketch he gave at his mother's funeral was so moving that many people were in tears.
Or seeing the community come together after the storm was incredibly moving.
Yes,
Yeah.
but stick around for the next two. We're going to share how they can also be about negative things.
Okay.
And then our last one here is poignant. So it was poignant to see my friend after nearly 30 years, for example. So this can also be positive. That's a positive emotion.
Yep. Or after all they had overcome together, it was a poignant moment when the team celebrated their victory. Also pretty positive, right?
Yes, right? Those are definitely positive. We can say something is poignant when it is meaningful, it's touching, heartwarming. But yeah,
We'll
stick
talk in a
around.
minute.
We'll share these can be negative.
All right. All right, Aubrey, we are back. So we've been alluding to the fact that they can be used in a negative way. Tell us what that looks like.
Yeah. So, for example, with poignant, you might say the photograph of the empty playground was poignant. It reminded me of my childhood. So, you can use poignant, for example, to talk about things that are tragic, right? You're just saying that it evoked a lot of emotion, but it could be just nostalgia, and it could also be sadness. It could be negative emotions as well.
For sure. Like I remember in 2008, when there was the crash, there were lots of photos in the newspaper of people walking out of buildings with boxes and plants and having just lost their jobs, right? Those were very poignant photos that marked the moment of what was happening in New York and globally. Right.
Right. So this doesn't mean heartwarming. It means like emotional. You know, you could say seeing everyone at my grandmother's funeral was really poignant. So I'm just saying it caused a lot of emotional. It was moving, but not necessarily positive.
Yeah. And any other examples here, Aubrey, that we need to give?
Yeah. For moving as well, right? You could say it was moving to see the images after the hurricane. So many people had lost their homes. So here you could use poignant or moving. So it's interesting that these two, completely dependent on the context, can be about positive emotions or negative.
Right. But heartwarming, touching, not used for
those are always positive.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So Aubrey, let's do a role play. So we are at a charity event where we've just seen a film about what the organization accomplished that year. So this kind of
perfect.
thing.
I'll start us out. That presentation was really heartwarming. I loved seeing everything the volunteers have done this year.
I agree, especially what the kids shared about how the program changed their lives. That was incredibly touching.
Yes, and watching the video montage of the families, it was so moving. Seeing the before and after photos was especially poignant.
Nice. Yes. All right. So basically the first one, that presentation was really heartwarming. You're opening up the conversation that way. Common way to, once the lights go on and we're going to start socializing, you might start a conversation that way, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting because you could also talk about the weather, but this is such a better way to connect. You've both just experienced something touching, heartwarming. Now you have the vocabulary to share that, to share these feelings.
For sure. For sure. And then what did I say?
And you were talking about, some kids shared how this program changed their lives. You said that was incredibly touching. So these are positive. This interchangeable, you could also say that was incredibly heartwarming.
Yes, good. And then you said watching the video montage of the families, it was so moving. Aubrey, what's a montage, just as a bonus?
Ooh, yeah. So that's when you see a lot of different pictures or images that it goes through really quickly. Someone might be speaking over it, and we'll call that a montage. You'll often see that in a film to show that a lot of time has passed, little snippets of little things that would happen to see time pass. Yeah,
or people might make these for funerals or for people's birthdays, big birthdays, right? Just music and then photos being flashed on this, like a slideshow kind of, but.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because that video montage could have been, scenes after a hurricane, for example, and you could still say it was moving. So, but it could also have been very positive things of people serving others, right? So this would work for both, whatever that montage was about. You could call it moving or poignant.
Love it. And then we did say poignant, seeing the before and after photos was especially poignant. So yeah, you can zoom in on something very specific. Right.
Exactly.
Make a further comment. Good. All right.
Yeah. So one thing to point out, notice how in this role play, Each of these has an intensifier, right? We said really heartwarming, incredibly touching, so moving, and especially poignant. And this is interesting because as I wrote the role play, I was trying to leave these out just to switch it up, and it felt strange to me. So I feel like for all of these, it's very native and natural to add an intensifier like that. It almost feels like it's not enough to say that presentation was heartwarming or it was moving. We almost always add an intensifier before. Interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I wouldn't have noticed that, but I'm glad you pointed that out. I wonder why that is that we feel like we have to do that. I mean, it's true.
I almost feel like because we're trying to convey these big emotions, it's almost not enough alone. It was it was heartwarming. I'm like, I need to give it a little more. It was really heartwarming.
Yeah, that, or maybe also, you know, when we're sharing something that touches us, it's sharing something about our minds. So maybe we feel like we need to add more words. I don't know, to be a little less direct. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. I thought about this for a bit though, because I'm like, couldn't I just say, you know, seeing the before and after photos was poignant, and it just felt like it wasn't enough. It sort of felt too blunt, almost
bland.
like a little bit hard. It just felt like it needed this cushion of really, or especially, or incredibly. I feel like I hear it that way the most often. And so it felt strange to not have them there.
I think emotion-oriented words do need some kind of cushion, right?
Yeah.
So having an intensifier, I think that's it. Love it. Really good observation there. I love that. So Aubrey, what's our takeaway for today?
Well, sharing what you find moving and poignant is one of the best ways to connect in English. So now you have the phrases to do this, to share what you find meaningful, to ask others about what they find meaningful.
All right, good stuff. Guys, if you like our style, make sure you go ahead and hit the follow button right here on the podcast player so you don't miss a single episode, and so that All Ears English will drop right into your listening library. So we'll be part of your day 5 days a week. All right, good stuff.
Thanks, Lindsay. Great episode today.
Take care. Bye.